So, ayan, hello, good day everyone. Bali, i-discuss ko lang po ulit yung ating topic. Kasi nalimutan ko yung recorded. Hindi ko siya ma-record. So, by the way, I am Mary Rosie Bergaren, practice teacher. And also, I'm taking Bachelor of Science in Industrial Education, major in Electrical Technology. And I am also living in Purok 1 Nakalaya, Jose Panganiban, Camarines Norte, and I'm 26 years old. So, our objectives at the end of the lesson, the student should be able to identify the electronics engineering law of 2004, identify the salient provisions electronics law of 2004, and analyze the impact of the implementation of Republic Act 9292 in the modern day society. Electronics Engineering Law of 2004, Republic Act 9292. So, this is our topic na i-discuss. Electronics engineering is a professional engineering discipline that deals with the study of electronics, electricity, and electromagnetism. The field first became an identifiable occupation in the late 19th century with the commercialization of the electric telegraph and electric valve power supply. So, yan po yung trabaho ng isang electronics engineering, which is they have an study of electronics, electricity, and also the electromagnetism. The field now covers a range of sub-disciplines, including those that deal with power, digital and analog electronics, computer science, control system, signals, processing, and telecommunications. So, yan po yung pinag-aaralan ng isang electronics engineering as a professional. The Electronics Engineering Law of 2004 of Republic Act 9292 covers the importance of electronics engineering in nation building and development. It indicates the salient provisions of the law that will benefit the students who will take exam to become a professional electronics engineer and technician. So, ito naman pong nakapaloob dito sa Law of 2004, Republic Act 1992, which is to develop our building sa pagpapaunlad po ng ating ginagawang gusali, which is our engineering is are provided. An act providing for a more responsive and comprehensive regulation for the registration, licensing, and practice of professional electronics engineers, and electronics technicians. So, yan po yung mga nakapaloob dyan sa act na yan. Proceed tayo sa salient provisions of implementing rules and regulation of Republic Act 9292. For the Section 1, the resolution shall be known as the Rules and Regulation of the Electronics Engineering Law of 2004. And for the Section 2, Statement of Policy, the state recognized the importance of electronics engineering in nation building and development. So, dyan nakapaloob sa ating Section 2, yung pag-develop ng ating nation building. And sa Section 3, definition and interpretation of terms. They have the electronics, which is the science dealing with the development and application of devices and systems involving the flow of electrons or other carriers of electric charge in a vacuum, in gaseous media, in plasma, in semiconductors, in solid state, and or in similar devices, including but not limited to application involving optical, electromagnetic, and other energy forms when transduced or converted into electronic signals. So, dito sa ating electronics, yan yung naka-indicate dito yung ating signals. Yan yung which is devices na nagpo-flow sa ating mga ginagamit na technology. And the professional electronic engineer, a person who is qualified to hold herself out as a dual registered license professional electronics engineer under the Act, and to affix to his or name the letters PECE. Yan. Naka-indicate sa section 2 natin yung professional electronics engineer. So, electronics engineer, a person who is qualified to hold herself out as a dual registered licensed electronics engineer under the Act, and to affix to her name the letters ECE. So, yan, naka-indicate sa ating section 2, yung ating electronics engineer na qualified sa section na ito. And also, the electronics technician, a person who is qualified to hold herself out as a dual registered licensed electronic technician under this Act, and to affix to his or her name the letters ECT. And also the electronics and communications engineer, a person is qualified to hold herself out as a dual registered licensed electronics and communications engineer under Republic Act number 5737. So, yan po yung nakapaloob sa ating section 3. Yan po. And computer, any variety of electronic devices that is capable of accepting data, programs, and or instructions, executing the programs and or instructions to process the data and presenting the results. Ayan, yung computer na kadalasang nagagamit natin, nakapaloob dito sa ating section 3. Ayan, kadalasang nagagamit natin ngayon, which is our engineer provide, including to us. Information and communications technology, the acquisition, production, transformation, storage and transmission, reception of data and information by electronic means in forms such as vocal, pictorial, textual, numeric, or the like. Also refers the theoretical and practical applications and process utilizing such data and information. Yan, nakapaloob dito sa ating section 3 yung information and communication ng ating technology. Communications, the process of sending and or receiving information, data, signals, and or message between two or more points by radio, cable, optical wave guides, or other devices, and wired as wireless medium. So, naka-indicate sa ating section 3 yung communications, which is, they have a radio, cable, yan, para makapag-communicate. So, thanks to our engineering, kasi nakakapag-usap tayo through technology. Telecommunications, any transmission, emission, or reception of voice, data, electronic, message, text, written or printed materials, printed matter, fixed or moving pictures or images, words, music, or visible or audible signals or sounds, or any information, intelligence and or control signals of any design, format, and for any purpose by wire, radio, spectral, visual, optical light, or other electronic, electromagnetic, and technological means. Yan, yung telecommunications. Yan ang mga kadalasang nagagamit natin sa ngayon na covered sa ating section 3. And broadcasting, in undertaking the object of which is transmit audio, video, text, images, or other signals or message for reception of broad audience in a geographical area via wired of wireless means. And yung broadcasting. And industrial plant includes all manufacturing establishments and other business and behaviors where electronic or electronically controlled machinery or equipment are installed and are being used, sold, maintained, assembled, manufactured, or operated. So, commercial establishment, nakapaloob pa rin to sa ating section 3, shall include but not be limited to office, building, hotels, motels. Yan yung ating mga buildings na pinano ng ating mga engineering technician and also the professional electronics engineer. Yan. Sa consulting services is as used in this act shall include service requiring adequate technical expertise, experience, and professional capability in undertaking advisory and review, pre-investment or feasibility studies, design, planning, construction, supervision, management, and related services, and other technical studies or special studies in the field of electronics engineering. Ayan. Sa ating section 3, nakapalob yung consulting services. And the accredited professional organization refers to the Institute of the Electronics Engineers of the Philippines. Yan. Sa kapalob sa ating section 3, which is the accredited professional organization. And they have our engineering, which is professional electronics engineer, electronics engineers, and also the electronics technician. Section 4, we have the categories of practice. And sila yung ating naka-indicate sa section 4. Our professional electronics engineer, and also electronics technician. And section 5, nature and scope of practice of electronics, engineering, and electronics technician professions. Ayan, naka-indicate dito yung ating electronics engineer, professional electronics engineer, and electronics technician. For our section 6, composed of chairman of 2 members who shall be appointed by the President of the Philippines from the 3 recommended per position, chosen and ranked by the Commission, which recommended shall in turn be chosen from the 5 nominees for each position submitted by the Accredited Professional Organization or APO in accordance with EO number 496 series of 1991 of the existing rules and regulations presently in existence. Promulgate for such purpose. Yan yung naka-indicate sa ating Section 6. For Section 7, powers and functions of the Board. Yan. Issue certificates of registration and professional identification cards of PECs, which is the professional electronics engineering, electronics engineering, and also our electronics technician. In accordance with Section 19, naka-indicate dito sa Article 3 of Republic Act Number 1992. Suspend or revoke the same, or otherwise, suspend the holder thereof from the practice of his or her profession for any justifiable cause in accordance with Section 23, Republic Act Number 1992. After due process. Yan yung naka-indicate sa ating Section 7. And also maintain rosters of PECE, ECE, and the ECs. Issue, suspend, and or cancel special permits to foreign PECE, ECE, and the ECT. Yan yung nakapaloob sa ating Section 7. And proceed to examination, registration, and licensure. For Section 13, licensure examination. All applicants seeking to be registered and licensed as ECEs and ECTs shall undergo the required examination to be given by the Board in such places and dates as the Commission may designate in accordance with the provision of Republic Act Number 8981. Ayan, lahat ng aplikante ng electronics engineering and electronics technician shall undergo the licensure examination. For Section 14, qualification for examination, in order to allowed to take the examination for ECE or ECT, applicants must, at the time of the filing of his or her application, establish to the satisfaction of the Board that EXA. Ayan. Yan yung sa Section 14 nakapaloob yung qualification for examination ng electronics engineering and or electronics technician. For ECE and electronics engineer and electronics technician, citizen of the Philippines or foreign country qualified to take the examination of good moral character for electronics engineer. And kailangan nila ng good moral character to citizen of the Philippines, of our foreign country, para ma-qualified sila. Holder of degree Bachelor of Science in Electronics and Communications Engineering or Electronics Engineering or equivalent and or related engineering course or programs. So, dapat related siya sa engineering program, yung good moral character. For example, dito is yung ating colleges will take this. And for ECT, graduate of an associate, technician, trade or vocational course in electronics or equivalent and or related formal or non-formal course program. For example po dito is yung TESDA, yan, yung ALS, yan, to has completed at least the minimum third equivalent of Bachelor Science program in electronics and communications engineering or electronics engineering program or equivalent and related course, engineering course or program. So, yan yung naka-indicate sa ating Section 13. For Section 15, scope of examinations. Ayan. For ECE, electronics engineering, we have the mathematics, 20%, general engineering and applied services, 20%, electronics engineering, 30%, and electronic system and technologies, 30%. Subject to be covered shall guide the following. Ayan yung kailangan nilang ma-maintain sa examination. Sa engineering kasi is more on computation. So, yan yung nagiging sakop ng kanilang examination. Mathematics, applied sciences, engineering, economics, laws and ethics, electronics, communications, computers and information and communication technology. Yan yung sakop ng ating Section 15. For ECT, shall consist of written and practical tests covering subjects to be prescribed by the board and shall cover topics specific to the practice of electronics technician. And sa kanilang examination naman, written or practical test sa covering subjects ng technician. Filing of applications. Applications shall be made in the prescribed form with all the required documents attached therewith, and no application made otherwise shall be accepted. So, ito na yung nakapaloob sa ating Section 15. Yun yung scope of examination. And the rest, the Section 16, yan na yung ratings. For Section 17, ayan na i-release na yung kanilang results of examination. And for Section 18, yung qualifications and schedule of registration for professional electronics engineer. Yan na kung qualified ba sila dun sa kanilang inexaman. For Section 19, issuance of the certificate of registration and professional identification card. Yan yung naka-indicate sa Section 19. And Section 20, registration without examination for electronics technicians. For Section 21, non-issuance of the certificate of registration and or professional identification card for certain grounds. Yeah. And the Section 22, professional oath. Section 23, revocation and suspension of certificate of registration, professional identification card, and cancellation of special permits. Yan yung naka-indicate sa ating Section 23. And for Section 24, reinstatement, reissuance, or replacement of certificate of registration and professional identification card. That is for our Section 24. In Section 25, roster for of professional electronics engineer, electronics engineers, and electronics technicians. That will indicate to our Section 25. So Section 26, exemptions from examinations and registration. And sa Section 27, practice of professions. And yung naka-indicate sa ating sa Section 27. Ipapractice mo na yung iyong profession. And for Section 28, prohibitions and limitations of the practice of electronics engineering and electronics and technician profession. Yan yung naka-indicate sa Section 28. For Section 29, seal of the professional electronics engineers. And Section 30, Code of Ethics and Code of Technical Standards of Practice. Yan. Yan na naka-indicate yung Code of Ethics na dapat malaman ng professional electronics engineers, technician, and also the engineering. Section 31, continuing professional education and or development programs. Yan naka-indicate sa ating Section 31. For Section 32, integrated and accredited professional organization. And for Section 33, foreign reciprocity. And for our Section 34, positions in government requiring the services of registered and licensed professional electronics engineers and electronics technicians. The rest, yan, sa ating section hanggang 43. Sa Section 35, Penal Provision Section. Sa Section 36, Assistance of Law Enforcement and Other Government Agencies. Section 37, Transitory Provisions. For Section 38, Vested Rights, Electronics and Communication Engineering when this law is passed. Section 39, Implementing Rules and Regulation, Appropriations, Separability Clause, Repealing Clause, and Effectivity. Yan, mga covered ng Electronics Engineering Law 2004 with a Section 1 to 43. Okay. So, yun lang is, and for your activity po, naka-attach na po siya sa ating Google Classroom, which is the Activity 1 and 2. And for your assignment is, what is Philippine e-commerce law? Next topic na po natin na i-discuss. Next meeting. Okay. And yun lamang po, and thank you.